I'm a little late to this, but I still wanted to talk about it because I mentioned it in a previous TikTok, so I'm going to do it anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, the Professional Women's Hockey League, the inaugural 6 franchises, finally revealed their logos and their nicknames for their sophomore season of play. It's been about a year in the making for us to finally discover what these teams are actually going to be called, and we finally know, so let's talk about it. First up, in the top left there, we have the Boston Fleet. I like the colour scheme, of course. The Fleet, I imagine, is a reference to the fact that there's Boston Harbour and that it's a harbour city. It's not the worst name out of this list by any means, but it doesn't really feel that inspired. I think it works for kind of season ticket sales, you know? It's like, oh, the Fleet, come and join the Fleet by buying a Boston Fleet season ticket. The Fleet are on the move to go and play another team. It works in that sense, but it's not exactly the best name. It kind of feels like the Boston franchise looked for nicknames in ChatGPT, and this was one of the best ones that it spat out. So, yeah, not the best, but certainly not the worst. You then have the Minnesota Frost, which is really uninspired, if you ask me. It is very much giving ChatGPT again, but also I guess it's a reference to the fact that Minnesota is one of, if not the coldest state in the US, but when you've got 3 franchises from Canada as well, can you really have that same thing apply? I'm not so sure. I like the colour scheme once again, but Minnesota Frost, yeah, that one really doesn't inspire me very much. I'm not the biggest fan of that. Then you've got the Montreal Victoire. There's no English version of this nickname. It is just the Victoire. I believe that's how you pronounce it. The Montreal Victory, I guess, would be the English version. I'm not sure how I feel about not having an English translation, but Victory works, I guess. I don't mind this name, especially as a Montreal fan, but at the same time, the name doesn't really work if they lose. The Victory have lost the game doesn't really work. I think a big inspiration for it has been like the Goddess of Victory and using victory as their mindset moving forwards, which I think is okay. I think that's pretty good, but still. The Victory prove not to be victorious as they lose. Come and join the Victory. I'm not sure how I feel about that once again. It's definitely one of the better ones, but once again, not completely convinced. The New York Sirens, I really like this nickname. I think is actually probably my favourite one out of all of them. I think the fact that it's kind of, you know, another harbour city in New York and a kind of near the ocean and luring the opponent to the ocean and using the kind of, the myths and the legends and the kind of things about the Sirens. I think that's really awesome. I think that's definitely one of the best ones they used. However, their execution of the logo, which we'll get into in a moment, not the biggest fan. I think they gave themselves a really good place to go, and they messed it up kind of badly, in my opinion. Then, penultimately, we have the Ottawa Charge, which, what does that mean? Charge? What charge? In charge of the country, because they're the capital city of Canada? But no, you could have gone with the Capitals or something like that, I guess. The Ottawa Charge means absolutely nothing. Is it because they want to charge everybody extra money when they go and watch the games, because it's in the capital city as well? I don't know. But yeah, completely uninspired. Another definite ChatGPT answer. And the logo, which we'll get into, one of the worst, if not the worst. And then the Toronto Scepters. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. It's certainly, once again, like the Fleet, not the worst one by any means. But I'm not really sure what the relevance is to Toronto. I think that they've played it off as Toronto's been like a big royal city, kind of with the Queen and the royal family and Queen Street and Queen Bay, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So they're going for that idea. I feel like maybe they should have played more into kind of the CN Tower kind of vibe to it. Maybe the Toronto Tower or the Toronto Towers. Maybe that's not necessarily the best one when you have teams from the US, and obviously Towers doesn't really bring back the best thing, especially we're very near the date as I'm recording this. So maybe that's not the best one, but yeah, Toronto once again, not quite ChatGPT, but a couple of executives got together and kind of discussed it, and this was the best they came up with, you know? So if I had to rank these, I think I'd put the Sirens first, the Victoire second, the Fleet third, the Scepters fourth, and then I think the Frost and the Charge would be joint last. I don't think either of them deserve to be solely in last because they're both as bad as each other. That's kind of how I feel about them. I don't know if it's because they're very new still, but I find a lot of them very uninspiring. Maybe it'll take me time to get used to them and I'm being a bit pessimistic, but not the biggest fan of these, and I don't think they really inspire much excitement from hockey fans. I think a lot of fans also feel the same. But regardless, those are the nicknames, those are the word marks for each of the different PWHL teams. Let's take a look at the logos. Here are the logos, ladies and gentlemen, and I must say some of these definitely look a lot better than others, don't they? You've got the Boston Fleet logo, which I really like, actually. It definitely gives off that Hartford Whalers vibe. It does kind of feel like the Whalers logo just pushed on its side, but not gonna lie, it really works. Definitely that kind of like, that anchor, that kind of fish hook look to it, that fish angle kind of thing there, which I think really works for them. I think also kind of a trident vibe to it as well with the Boston Fleet. I really like it. I think the design's very nice. Good job there, Boston. The name isn't quite as inspiring, but I would be very happy to own a jersey or a piece of merch with that logo on it. It's very nice. Then we come to the Minnesota Frost, ladies and gentlemen. This is the most generic logo they could have come up with. And also the F, obviously for the Frost, but it's also a case they're going for kind of, because it's the women's league, F for female, perhaps, which isn't the worst idea in the world, and that's kind of something I just thought of as well, but I feel like it should be an M for Minnesota, no? Obviously you've got Michigan that uses the big M for their college hockey team, but I feel like an M in those colours might be a little bit more inspiring than the F. Obviously, in the PWHPA, you had the Montreal Force, or the Force still in Montreal, and they used an F as well, and that one looks slightly better to me. The PHA, sorry, not the PWHPA, the PHA, I believe is what it was called, the Premier Hockey Association. I can't remember. Whatever. I'm getting sidetracked. Yeah, that's one of the worst. Once again. The Montreal Victoire logo, I think is pretty good. You've got the fleur-de-lis in there. You've got an M for Montreal. Apparently you've got a symbol there for the goddess of victory as well. So they're very much going for that kind of Greek and Roman god inspiration, or god and goddess inspiration, which, not the worst idea. So I think it also very much screams classic logo. Does look a little bit generic, but it does kind of scream that kind of classic vintage logo. Those kind of logos never really go out of style, I've noticed. And maybe that's what they're going for. The New York Sirens, the best nickname out of all of them. Why didn't they have some kind of siren holding a hockey stick? Like a siren in the ocean holding a hockey stick. They just go for the NY and then just sirens written. Absolutely dropped the ball on this one, folks. I'm really not happy with this one. They had such a prime opportunity to create such like a empowering logo, such an awesome logo to represent the professional women's hockey league. Have women's sirens with like hockey equipment and like a stick or something, or shooting a puck or something like that. But they absolutely bottled it. Really bad there, guys. Not happy at all. Ottawa Charge, it looks like a Dollarama Calgary Flames logo. It looks like this is one that you get at Renaissance. You know, like it's not good. It's really not good. I don't know what they're thinking there. It's because it's charged and it's going really quickly. No. You're in Minnesota Frost territory, Ottawa. Like, bad. No, bad. And then you've got the Toronto Scepters, which, not the worst logo in the world. I'm not sure how I feel about the yellow on the blue. Something about that kind of grosses me out a little bit, I think. And also, I'm pretty sure, without the kind of scepter bit at the top, that TS logo was used for a Taylor Swift music video, which some people are happy to see, some people not so much. Maybe to me, that kind of screams a little bit of a lack of originality, but I can see what they're going with the whole scepter design there with the bit on top, so certainly not the worst once again. So if I was going to rank the logos here, I'd probably go either Montreal or Boston at first. I think for kind of originality, I'm going to go Boston at first. I'm going to go Montreal second. I'm going to go Toronto at third. I'm going to go all three of them last, actually. Yeah, Minnesota, Ottawa, New York. I'm going to put all three of them in dead last for the complete lack of originality for all of them, for the generic cookie cutter, ChatGPT created logos for these ones. So there you have it, folks. The names, the nicknames, the logos for all inaugural six franchises for the PWHL. What do you guys think about the nicknames and the logos for all six PWHL teams? Are you happy with the ones that your teams chose? Do you think that they could have done better? Or are you somewhere in between? Let me know, guys. I'd love to hear from you. But thanks for watching. I hope this worked out and you have a good day. Take care, guys.